The Nintendo Switch has captivated gamers globally by selling over 150 million units worldwide, making it Nintendo's best-selling home console and third best-selling console of all time, only behind the PlayStation 2 and Nintendo DS. But with all these folks owning the Nintendo Switch, very few realize the depths of its hidden features and quirky secrets. Join me as we explore 13 astonishing Nintendo Switch tips and tricks that you probably still didn't know about. Did you know that it's possible to greatly increase download speeds on the Switch with your existing internet? As soon as your system is up and running, do yourself a favor and head over to Internet Settings inside of your system settings. Select your Wi-Fi network and click on Change Settings. Next, change the maximum transmission unit or MTU from 1400 to 1500. This will instantly boost your download speeds, making downloads much faster on the Nintendo Switch. While Nintendo doesn't officially advertise it, the Nintendo Switch possesses an accessible, although unofficial, web browser. This functionality isn't immediately apparent and requires a specific workaround to unlock. To access it, you'll need to navigate to your console's network settings, and within these settings, you must change the DNS options from automatic to manual. Once you've made this adjustment, you'll be prompted to input a primary DNS server address. By typing in this specific address and then attempting to connect to your network, you'll initiate the hidden web browser. You'll likely encounter a message indicating that the connection failed. However, by selecting the next option, you'll be directed to the web browser interface, and from here, you can head over to Google and visit any website that you would like. If you like playing your Nintendo Switch in the dark, the screen can sometimes be super bright, which isn't great for your eyes. But the good news is, there is a dark mode setting that you can use to fix this. Even though it's not a super secret, a lot of people have their Nintendo Switch for years and don't even know it's there. It's really useful for playing games right before bed without causing any kind of strain to your eyes. Okay, so you won't believe this. Nintendo eShop prices are totally different depending on your country. Like Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted was 40 cents in the UK, but Americans were still paying at least $30. And get this right, you can actually change your account's region to buy games cheaper from other countries. It's pretty much like international shopping without actually leaving home. I've put a link to a price comparison website in the description so you can see for yourself and get the best deals possible. Alright, now let's be real. We're all aware that the Nintendo Switch isn't exactly flexing the same raw processing muscle as a high-end PC, a PlayStation, or even an Xbox. But hold on, that doesn't mean you're stuck playing in your own little corner. Nope, the Switch actually lets you jump into action with your buddies on those platforms. You see, the Switch supports crossplay in quite a few games, meaning you can team up or go head-to-head not just with players on other consoles, but also with those iOS and Android devices. Now, it's important to remember that not every game offers this feature, and the specific way crossplay works can differ from title to title. However, just to give you a little taste of what's possible, you can dive into games like Fortnite, Minecraft, Paladins, Overwatch, and a bunch more, all while playing alongside people on those other systems. Now here's a little trick for those of you who are the sole owners of your Nintendo Switch. If you're the only person using your console, you don't have to deal with the minor annoyance of selecting your profile every single time you boot it up. There's actually a setting that lets you bypass that whole "who are you" screen, provided you've only got the one profile set up. It's a small thing, sure, but it definitely makes the whole process of getting into your games a bit quicker and smoother, making your console just a tad bit more responsive to your every command. So believe it or not, the Nintendo Switch online service right outside of the box doesn't actually give you the option to directly chat with your friends. Yep, you heard that right. No voice chat, no text messaging, nothing. But thankfully, Nintendo's been slowly but surely adding some quality of life improvements. Not too long ago, they rolled out an update that finally lets you send and receive invitations to play with your buddies just like you would on an Xbox or PlayStation. Now, it's worth pointing out that this feature isn't universally supported across every game on the Switch, but at least the capability is now present, and more games like Divinity 2, Original Sin, Super Mario Party, Mortal Kombat 11, and a growing list of others are adding this feature, making it way more convenient to jump into online games with your friends. Did you know that you can actually hook up a keyboard to your Nintendo Switch? Yes, a real clicky tacky keyboard. Now, one thing to consider is that not every game is gonna let you type away, but it's seriously handy in those games where chatting is key. Trying to type in the chat box in Minecraft or punching in commands, a keyboard makes it way easier to shit talk. It just works so much better. It's like bringing a little bit of PC gaming comfort to your Switch. So here's something you probably might not realize about the Nintendo Switch. It's surprisingly versatile when it comes to controllers. It actually supports a wide range of them. A lot of people don't know this, but you can connect up to 8 different controllers at once. And it's not just the standard Joy-Cons. You can use the Pro controller and even GameCube controllers with a separate adapter. And Nintendo themselves have released some fun options like the original NES controller, the Super Nintendo controller, and even the Nintendo 64 controller. And then there's the Pokeball Plus, of course. The point is, the Nintendo Switch supports a really wide range of controllers, some of them pretty unusual. Okay, so we all know that when you turn on your Nintendo Switch, you gotta tap that button 3 times, right? It's just how it works. But here's a little thing that you might not have noticed. Those buttons actually make different sounds. Like for example, if you press the ZR button, you'll hear something like this. You can actually make a bunch of random silly sounds just by pressing different buttons. It's just a fun little quirk of a console, a small thing that adds a bit more personality. Okay, so we've all been there, right? You're ready to play and suddenly one of your Joy-Cons is nowhere to be found. Nobody wants to lose those little controllers, and thankfully the Nintendo Switch has a built-in feature to help you out. The console actually has an option that lets you activate the vibration on a Joy-Con you've misplaced. Basically, if you're within a reasonable distance, you can make that lost Joy-Con vibrate, which helps you track it down just by listening for it. It's a really handy feature, especially when you're in a hurry to get back to your game. Now here's a little detail about the Joy-Cons that might surprise you. You probably know that when you connect a Joy-Con to your Nintendo Switch, the little icon on the screen matches the color of the controller. Yes, that's pretty standard. But did you know that one of those Joy-Cons actually has a camera inside? And now hold on, don't get any wild ideas. It's not for taking pictures of yourself or anything. It's actually an infrared sensor which the console uses to detect movement. If you ever mess around with a Nintendo Labo, you've probably seen how the sensor works in some of those games. And honestly, seeing it in action, it's pretty interesting. I gotta admit that it can be a little creepy too, just seeing how accurately it can pick up on movement. Okay, so here's a cool trick that might blow your mind. Your Nintendo Switch can actually turn on your TV. Seriously, if your Switch is powered on and you plug it into the dock, it can automatically power up your TV. And get this, if your TV is already on and you're watching something else, the TV will automatically switch to the HDMI input that the Switch is using. This is all thanks to something called HDMI CEC, which is a standard used by other devices too. But for us gamers, it's super convenient, especially when you're playing in handheld mode and you want to quickly jump to the big screen. So those are some essential Nintendo Switch tips for both new and future Nintendo Switch 2 owners, as a lot of these tips will also apply to the Switch 2. I'd love to hear your thoughts and any additional tips you might have in the comments below. Sharing is encouraged and a like really helps me out. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more content, and I'll see you guys in the next one.